Come gather round the campfire and hear our ghostly tales of chilling terrors, darkest woes, and anything that goes bump in the night. So cuddle up with your best friend or dare it alone. The darkness is closing in and spirits are calling your name. This is Fireside Phantoms. Hey, Holly.
Hi, Carol.
Welcome to Paranormal and Paranoid News.
Yay! I'm so excited for this.
Well, I have a couple of fun stories for you.
Cool.
And then we have a special guest who is joining us today, Connor Flynn.
Oh, great.
Which I will be announcing more formally in the second half.
Awesome.
So there's a strange phenomenon some may have heard about, especially if they like hiking in the woods. Hikers have been sharing stories of encountering strange staircases or random sets of stairs leading to nothing in the woods. Most of these stairs are probably just left over from random buildings and bridges that no longer exist.
Okay.
Not sure why the stairs would have survived, but that seems to be the most logical explanation. However, hikers are adamant that the stairs are appearing in areas they have previously hiked through. The appearance of these stairs are odd, and they cite examples like seeing an old Victorian staircase, but there's no evidence of a former home around it.
Huh.
The staircase has no evidence of age or rust, even though it is the style of a much older era.
Could it be the staircase to heaven?
It could be. I've always been looking for it. Now, some of these stairs are extremely modern looking, and others might even have a carpeted runner going up the stairs looking brand new with no bird droppings or any sort of dirt or pine needles from being outside.
Nice.
Isn't that weird?
That is weird.
And the last category of stairs they've seen are weathered with moss covering them, but again, no other evidence of other building materials or former homes are found in the areas so that, they can't put a connection to them.
So you're saying that these staircases have learned to teleport?
Maybe.
That's interesting. I didn't think staircases had their own intelligence, but perhaps they do.
Well, if they're going to heaven, maybe they've absorbed some godly power.
Or they're going to hell.
Well, stay tuned because it gets quite ominous.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Okay.
So we know the author who wrote the Missing 411 books.
Yeah.
Well, he talks about this phenomenon and interviews park
he
rangers, who've had stories finding these strange stairs in areas that they're familiar with because of their work. And that brings a level of credibility to their stories because, park rangers is like Smokey the Bear.
Yeah.
They're trustworthy. But this 411 author does say that most of the stories he's collected are from the United States national parks.
Okay.
But people from other parts of the world are weighing in, and they've said they've also found these strange staircases in their forests.
Okay.
One search and rescue officer who has been posting his stories on Reddit said he had some really crazy stories to tell. They often see some pretty strange things on rescue missions, and some are pretty awful, so they just don't discuss the specifics found with most people. Quote, "We all know what we've seen, and we've been told not to talk about it by our superiors."
Really?
On just about every case where we're really far off the path into the wilderness, and I'm talking 30 or 40 miles, at some point we'll find a staircase in the middle of the woods. It's almost like if you took the stairs in your house, cut them out, and then just put them in the forest.
I wonder if they are part of a portal system.
Maybe. That's kind of what I'm thinking, too.
Yeah.
Now, when I first started seeing them, he said, I asked about it, and the other officer just told me not to worry about it, that it was normal. I wanted to check them out, but I was told very emphatically that I should never go near any of them. End quote. Now, the guy who's relaying his story on Reddit has answered many questions from people asking to describe what he saw. He said that they came in a variety of shapes, sizes, styles, and conditions. Some are taller than others. Many are spiral, almost old-fashioned. And some are even covered in perfect white carpeting without a smudge of dirt on them, like I was saying.
Yeah.
And one common aspect similar to all stairs is the feeling of dread which comes over them as they try to ascend the staircase.
Really?
So maybe it is going to hell.
Oh,
Yikes. Yeah. One person said he saw the staircase coming up out of the water on a lake where they were boating on in the woods. Well, that reminds me of Excalibur, the sword coming up out of the water.
Yeah.
So freaky. In almost all reports, nobody has the courage to climb up to the top of the staircase. They all say there is so much fear when approaching, they almost always put distance between themselves and the area surrounding the steps. In the few cases where someone does climb all the way up, it appeared to them when they came back down that large amounts of time was missing while they were on the stairs.
Okay, that's creepy.
Yes. So one person said when they climbed up to the top, the noise of the forest grew very quiet, and they thought they could see a dark, scary face with glaring black eyes staring from the trees at them. The hiker quickly ran back down the stairs and refused to go back to investigate. Other people, when they go back to prove the stairs exist, have found the staircase to have vanished. So it seems they only appear briefly and they do disappear. Theories about what these stairs might be range from gateways to the fairy world or portals.
Okay.
One psychic that was called in to investigate said the energy coming off the stairs suggests a location for aliens to ascend and descend into our world, and also to abduct people. Well, that's fun. That's a cheery thought.
Very cheery.
That might explain why they appear so often on search and rescue missions where people have been reported as missing. One theory is that it is religious cults in the woods who use the stairs as a pulpit for performing a ceremony.
Okay.
While these mysterious stair stories seem to have originated from the Reddit board posting, there was talk about a vanishing staircase back in the 1940s, and this was right after the Roswell incident took place.
Oh, really?
The staircase was said to have appeared and disappeared every 2 to 3 days, appearing in a different location each time. Researchers who have tried to investigate do say the stairs emit a frequency change. The location of the vanishing staircase just happened to be from an infection disease expert who was working for the U.S. government healthcare agency.
Was his name Anthony Fauci?
That's a good one, Holly.
Thank you.
Well, he was working with animals.
I knew he was behind this.
He said that there had been cases of mutilated animals in the area, so that's why he was working in the woods.
I was looking for bats out in the forest, and I found this. I found the staircase.
Yeah, he was working in this area for the last 6 months, he said, and one specific detail they noticed was the ground in the area where the stairs were formerly witnessed seemed to be burned. So every time they would move and they'd go back to the location, that area left a burned residue.
Right, because when the portal opens up, it makes everything catch on fire around it. No,
or the hell and brimstone coming up from the bowels of the earth.
That's a better answer.
Yeah, thank you. One bizarre case from the Philippines was of a man who was fired as a forest worker because he didn't show up for work. He said that he climbed up to the top of the ladder in the woods to escape a rabid dog chasing him. And he felt only a few minutes passed by before he finally saw that the coast was clear and he descended back down. He swears that 5 years passed by.
What?
His job was no longer available to him, and they thought he just was gone, like he didn't want the job, that he just abandoned his job.
Really?
Yeah.
So wait, where did this dog come from?
I have no idea.
You think the dog is in on it? Like it's part of, I'm going to get him up those staircase and you know, we're going to do whatever we're going to do. And then he's going to come back down 5 years later?
Well, a lot of search and rescue missions use dogs. So a lot of these stories do come from search and rescue missions.
Huh.
So maybe they were using a dog and one of the dogs got bit by a bat in the forest that then led to a strange disease which caused him to be rabid, and then he's
worldwide
chasing
epidemic happened
out.
And then pretty soon our economy crashed and it was terrible. Well,
boom.
Could you imagine, like, you're just out doing your job one day and you just trance up these mysterious stairs because there's a creepy dog chasing you, and then the dog finally goes away and you're thinking it's been 20 minutes and you come down the stairs and 5 years are gone?
Everything's changed. You don't even realize it, and try and go to show up to work the next day.
How pissed off would you be? Like, what do you mean? Like, you go to your house and then there's strange people living in your house?
Yeah.
your like wife and kids are gone, or your husband and kids are gone, and you're just like, what the hell?
I know. Somebody's drained your bank account because, you know, you're
'Cause
dead.
You're dead.
You're officially dead.
Yeah, you're gone.
That's so crazy.
Oh my God.
There's even a story of a woman who fell dead from climbing one of these staircases in the woods. The coroner's report, though, listed her as dying from a brain aneurysm. I mean, what's the coincidence of somebody just having a brain aneurysm right as they're climbing up the stairs?
So my guess is that when you're going up these stairs, there's some kind of frequency change that happens, and her brain probably could not calibrate that. Yeah. And it created a lodge in her blood-brain whatever I'm trying to say. Her apparatus, her blood-brain apparatus, something happened.
Her blood-brain
something
bursted
exploded
in the atmosphere.
Yes, something happened to her.
Thanks, Holly.
You're welcome.
So my next story is also of missing time.
Okay.
We've all probably seen the crazy time traveler YouTube videos claiming to be from people who have traveled back to our time from the future.
Mm-hmm.
I can confidently say to you, all those stories will be fake.
Really? That's good to know.
Thank you. I've already determined.
Okay.
But they're really entertaining to watch, so I keep watching them.
Yeah.
So recently, a series of videos have gone viral from a supposed man named Javier, who's trapped in the year 2027.
Oh, man.
He is filming live from the future on TikTok. At first, I was like, oh, here we go again. But I do find these stories just so crazy and fun. So I started to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So this man claims he woke up in a hospital bed. And upon waking up, he saw he was the only person in the whole hospital.
Oh, he was watching The Walking Dead.
I know. He felt fine, no injuries from what he could tell. And upon exploring his surroundings, he soon became aware that the entire city of Valencia, Spain, where he's from, was completely uninhabited. He was the only person alive. Now, keep in mind, Valencia, Spain, and the neighboring municipalities has a population of around 1.6 million people.
Shit.
That's a lot of people to be gone.
Huh.
He also said that there were no signs of the usual rodents or stray cats or dogs either.
Mm-hmm.
So immediately I'm thinking, okay, but how is it that there is still internet, phone service, and electricity if you are the only one left?
And TikTok.
And TikTok. Are they all operating on an emergency backup generator?
The aliens are keeping them going.
There you go. But his videos are so creepy that they've already gained him 3.1 million followers.
Really?
In his videos, he will ask people to go to a location at a specific time in our year of 2021. And at the same time, he'll also be there filming and showing a clock to compare the time on the same city clock as the other person that goes in the same location.
Okay.
Yeah. He also asked our good friend Alexa, who somehow is still juiced up, what date and time it is. And Alexa responds with the time, month, and date as 2027. Alexa probably knows he's freaked out and it's just messing with his head. Now, I know there's editing software where you can remove background people from photos like ex-girlfriends, which is really handy. But supposedly, he's filming live. And you may be able to get away with editing out one or two people, but you can easily tell when editing is done with large crowds. He said he thinks his 2027 is our 2021 on a parallel reality. People will challenge him to do all kinds of crazy things like, hey, take a joyride with a cop car, which he does. Take a brand new Mercedes he finds in a dealership, which he does without any issues. He finds keys laying around to everything and opens up stores, films the subway station during the day completely empty of people, and goes into a public library or school without any issues or alarms going off. He even goes to the zoo and shows there are no animals at the zoo. How creepy is that?
So do you think this is legit?
No, I don't. So people ask him to take food or sodas out of convenience stores, which he does. And the latest thing he's doing is he's going and leaving items in places where people are going at the same time and they find them. They find the object he's placing there. He also has access to banks and films himself going into a bank vault, which, by the way, banks only allows certain employees access, and they would never, ever permit filming. Ever. He even films himself, Holly, going back to the hospital he woke up in at the urge of a commenter telling him to try and find his medical file, which he does. He even goes to an airport and turns on a TV, flipping through all the channels to show there are no programs airing. Javier doesn't know what happened, but he feels like somehow there is still a connection to our 2021, and he must be in a parallel reality, which has the connection to our society and culture, but not the same calendar year. You asked me, do I think this is a fake?
Yeah.
I do think it is a fake, like all the other ones, but I am fascinated with this because how does he do it is the question.
Well, he could have it all set up. He could have people commenting in there saying that are his friends, hey, do this, do that. And he already has it set up to do.
So I'm glad you said that, because that's my theory too. He has multiple helpers and they're all helping him get access to these places. So unless he's a secret agent or security guard with top level clearance, I'm thinking that's how he gets access to all these places. But it's a lot of people to be in on the secret. And he must have done a lot of the filming during the lockdown. That explains no people around. But it's weird because people are showing him in real time, or it seems like it's happening at the same time on TikTok as them going out after his challenges. So one theory that I really like that somebody's proposed is that the city leaders have granted him permission to do filming during the lockdown to promote tourism for the city of Valencia. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Well, wait, is he selling merch? Because that's what I
No,
would really like to know.
He's not selling merch, but that might explain why he goes to all the national landmarks and cathedrals.
Right.
Because you really get to see the town. And I'm going to Valencia. It's really pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice place. And if there's no rodents around, hey.
Yeah. Or people.
Yeah. So I'll post his TikTok account in the credits. You guys can check his videos out. You'll find it really entertaining, to say the least. And I would love to hear your theories on how Javier is really, faking
pulling
this
this
whole
off.
thing. Because this is quite elaborate. It's quite the editing job and really fun.
So he just basically said he woke up one day, everybody was gone, and now he lives in this parallel reality. He has no idea where everybody went.
That's right.
And you think it's for the government because it's a great way to sell their city for tourism after COVID is over.
It's a theory. I like it. It makes sense to me.
I mean, it would make sense that he could have all this stuff set up and he would be helped out with visual effects and that type of thing.
Or he's some top-level security that has access to everything during COVID. So he's checking out everything or handling something, which explains why he has keys to all these places, because he just walks in. He walks into, like, there was one video where he goes into a fire station and he goes all the way back to where their, locker rooms are. And he has full access to their entire equipment, their outfits, their hoses, their poles to dance around.
Naked.
No. So it's really compelling.
And is
fun.
all their stuff still there? Like the people are the only things that are missing? Like
Right.
the people just left and that was it?
Yeah, that's it. You can't find bodies. You can't.
And he doesn't
find
see
any
anything
evidence.
weird going on? Like there's no Godzilla running around and the skies aren't turning purple? Like what?
No. It's almost like he's just the only one around. And to me, it almost looks like an elaborate virtual reality that he's stuck in. But the thing is,
maybe that will be an ad for some kind of virtual reality game that's going to come out.
That would be a lot of effort and money and cost to build something like
Maybe
that.
it's like super epic game.
Maybe. Well, we'll have to see. I love it.
That's interesting.
So check him out.
I will
put
check him
all
out.
his credits and his link to his TikTok account so you guys can have some fun. You always make me work for these episodes.
I sure do.
I don't get paid to do these tarot readings. All right. What do you want to know? Well, we already know the guy on TikTok's fake. Want to do the staircases?
Ones? So what exactly are happening with those staircases in the woods? What's happening with those staircases in the woods?
What is happening with those staircases in the woods?
In the woods?
I want to know.
Okay, we'll be right back.
All right, bye. All right, we got our cards drawn and ready.
Yep.
I'm-
Carol, you go first.
Yeah, oh, thanks. I'm using the Ethereal Visions Illuminated Tarot deck.
That sounds fancy.
Doesn't it?
It does.
By Matt Hughes. And the cards are gorgeous. They have some gold on them.
Gold
and it's
gilding,
very,
yeah. Very pretty.
yeah, very fantasy-like. It's beautiful. So I drew the Knight of Swords, the
Okay.
Magician, and the Eight of Swords reversed. So
Okay.
I am definitely going with the fact that this is otherworldly. The stairs are not just put there by random people. I think maybe some tricksters, you know how it is when something happens, everybody likes to follow suit, like with the, any phenomenon, they like to copycat.
Right.
So there's some of that going on. But the Knight of Swords represents ultimate power and intellect. And so swords are attracting that power on the stairs. It's coming from a higher intelligence. The Magician is very much otherworldly. It's mercurial in energy. So there's an energetic component to this.
Okay.
The Magician is all about dealing with the body and, aligning with health. Sometimes it's a health card.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that these stairs are interfering with our circadian rhythm and our health, I think the Magician points to that it's also an illusion into another world. And then the last card is the most telling. It's the Eight of Swords reverse, which to me is when you climb these stairs, you're releasing the bounds of our earthly basically physics, our earthly physics, that of time and space. And so once that's changed, when you reach to the top, you're in a timeless space.
That sounds pretty good to me. Yeah.
That's my best guess.
Yeah, that's a pretty good guess. And with the Eight of Swords, actually, it's the Nine of Swords, in which there's a ladder of swords you're climbing with. But
the Eight of Swords regularly, like if it was not reversed,
Yeah.
is just being trapped.
okay,
So that makes sense.
Yeah.
When it's reversed,
Yeah.
you're being released.
right.
Which really is basically what happens when you lose track of time.
Right. It's not as bad as its upright position.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. Very good.
What do you have?
So I, per your request, am reading one card from one deck called the Phantoid Pack, or the Phantod Pack, by Edward Gorey, who is a great author. I love him. He wrote the Grizzly Crumb Tinies, which is one of my favorite children's books. It's a book
I
about...
love the artwork,
I
too.
know, it's so cute. All these little kids and how they die.
Oh, God, Holly. Cut that, Josh. Cut it.
Josh, keep it forever. Okay. So anyway, I chose out of that deck. I got the Ancestor. This is so funny because he doesn't really give you a description. He just gives you a bunch of words about what the card might mean, which I had to look up because I'm not familiar with this deck at all.
I'm not either.
So he writes April, hereditary weakness, thrush, loss of money, a false statement, morbid dependency, staggering sickness, champerty, megrims, paranoia, an overdose, imprisonment, and unstable furniture, which I think is pretty funny because a staircase out in the middle of the woods would be unstable furniture, right?
That's hilarious.
So it's kind of funny he nailed it on that one. But I do believe that he also says staggering sickness, which you said that people that would ascend these stairs would get quite sick.
Right.
Some people even died. That one woman that had the aneurysm.
Right.
So there is something about sickness and being out there. The megrims is just kind of like depression. So there is a negative energy associated with the staircase. It is not, it's not necessarily very good. Also, as you pointed out when we had the mics off, the ancestor means that there's ancestral old energy. Perhaps it is connecting us through time somehow, back to the past, back to where we came from. So that ancestral energy is there. So yeah, there is definitely a lot of negative, low energy around the staircase in terms of sickness and making you sick. And perhaps it is a stairway taking you up to another dimension. But there's something that affects human beings. Maybe we are not vibrating high enough to get to that frequency, so we have a sick reaction to it instead.
Oh, I like that. That's a really good explanation.
Well, thank you. And so for the other part of the reading, I'm using the wonderful Considerate Cat Tarot by Madeleine Bellinger. I think Carol's used this one in the past. It's one of my favorite decks of all time. It's very cute, and it goes to help. If you buy this deck, you can use it to help cats who are in shelters. So for this deck, I got the High Priestess, the Five of Cups, and the Two of Swords.
Ooh.
So the High Priestess is all about using your intuition, listening to what your body is telling you. So I think the moral of the story is if you're out in the woods and you see a staircase just sitting out there,
Run!
do that first, but then check in with your body and see how you feel about it intuitively. Like, do you go close to it? Do you have the feeling that you should back away? Really tune into yourself intuitively.
That's right. So only if you're owing a high amount to the IRS would I ascend those stairs so that, you don't need time would just be gone.
You don't need to go up those stairs. And then also the High Priestess is also the card of mystery and psychic ability. So I think that if you're seeing a staircase out in the woods, you are having a psychic connection to that moment, to that place, to that staircase, but you want to make sure that you really listen carefully to what your body is telling you and don't just ignore it and run up those stairs because it could be a bad idea. But that's followed by the Five of Cups, which is a card of depression and loss. Again, that's being reiterated in the cards that the stairs are really not for you to enjoy. The stairs are there for nefarious purposes.
Yeah, so it's not a pulpit for preaching.
No,
for sure.
No, you shouldn't use them for exercise. It's nothing like that. You just want to steer clear of these staircases because it could really bring some negative energy, low depression, sickness, that sort of thing out in you. And we end with the Two of Swords, which is a conflict card of choice and decisions.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's right.
So this one is to me telling me, no, don't do it.
So it's like an invitation from whoever's putting it out. It's like a temptation, like almost like
I don't know that it's an invitation. Yeah. I think they're appearing for some reason. Maybe it's like there's something got burned in time and it just shows up in weird places somehow. And staircases are a connector. Let's face it, they're connectors.
Right,
From
they are.
Top to bottom, you're going through some kind of a connection and you're ascending or you're descending on them. So maybe they're a symbolic connector for some kind of energy that we don't know or understand, but it really isn't meant for us. So I don't think it's an invitation, but I think it's there for some other reason. Mm-hmm. And the reason should be humanity stay away and don't get messed up in this. So that would be my interpretation.
We welcome our guest today, hailing from Florida, Connor Flynn, also known as Bigfoot Anonymous.
Welcome, Connor.
He has written several books, of which I'm currently reading, called Big Brother Bigfoot, Erie Swamps, A Return to Eden, and Monsters and Mysteries Around the Corner. Connor, so glad to have you on our podcast. Thank you for reaching out for us. I'm always wanting to know what new information is out there regarding these cryptids and getting to the truth. Tell us a little bit about some of the main signs that Bigfoot is nearby.
Thank you first and foremost, but the signs of Sasquatch come in many different shapes and forms and sounds and sometimes visual cues as well, ranging from, tree breaks to tree bends, tree twist-offs, ground glyphs, straight lines in the path, rock stacks, rock clacks, the sound-wise, tree knocks, weird sounds like ooh or whoa, and then other things like birds acting weird, animals, being taken from, you see roadkill on the side of the road, one day, and it wasn't picked up by any professionals, but it's just vanished. And we've had pigs go missing. Sadly, one of my cats got killed. Sometimes it comes right to your back door.
Connor, do you mind if I read some of your quotes from your book for you to expand on? Okay. In August of 1972, 3 different people were attacked by a beast in a small northwest town. Witnesses claimed they saw an 8-foot monster with hairy feet. Some claimed it was an aggressive grass man, but the town remembers it as the werewolf of Defiance. This creature was spotted running like a caveman carrying a giant stick. The entire town was on high alert and is still on edge to this very day. I found this part of your book in Big Brother Bigfoot interesting because you're saying that people thought of it as a werewolf also, and they kind of got confused. to me, it sounds more like a Bigfoot creature, but they also say it might have been a werewolf they were seeing. Can you comment on why that is, why people get it so confused with other cryptids?
Yeah, I think just first and foremost, because we're told it doesn't exist. So right when you see something that's told not to exist, your mind just goes into crazy flurries. And then add in these creatures' supernatural abilities or just natural abilities. Just to touch on your question earlier, yes, these creatures do have supernatural abilities, but so do human beings. We can create worlds when we sleep, and then we wake up with amnesia, deja vu, electricity. There is so much magic in a normal life of a human, let alone an earthling that hasn't been tampered with the poison of modern day society, chemicals and just normal distractions.
Do you think that when they do these things like breaking trees, throwing rocks, knocking, doing their screaming, are they trying to get us away from them? Or are they warning us? Like, what is the reason for them doing that? Or are they really planning on attacking?
Good question.
Yes, that is a great question. I think it's a warning. No top predators warn you. A bear doesn't warn you. A panther does not warn you. These Sasquatch, they are making these noises and trying to put fear into us and get us out of here. Very recently, I was at Torreya State Park, and we got into this really deep part of the trail, and I think we stumbled upon its den. Well, shortly after, this huge boulder gets thrown behind us. It was very calm, but it sent the message exactly that we had to get out of there. These creatures love old remnants and urban exploring. They're found down in warehouses and tunnels, abandoned subway systems. It's amazing how they don't stop at the nature. They will find their way into homes and stranger places.
So do you believe then that Bigfoot also has paranormal attributes? Because I don't know if you knew this, but I've also had an encounter with Bigfoot.
Oh, I want to hear your encounter. I did not know that.
I was taking my daughter to ski school one summer, and we were going up the highway that leads to Mount Hood. And we were in a traffic jam. And so we were just all kind of just sitting there waiting for traffic to clear up. And I was just gazing off the side of the road into the woods. I saw this humongous hairy thing running just through the forest. Like it was superhuman in size and speed. And my brain kept trying to flip pictures of what it was. At first I thought it was a horse. And then I'm like, no, it's not a horse because it's on two legs. And then I was like, bear. And then I'm like, it's not a bear because it's too fast. It's running so fast. There's no way a bear could do that. And then I was like, what is that? And then all of a sudden it hit me. I'm seeing Bigfoot, I think. But it was gone in 6 seconds.
Wow. And Mount Hood is a hot spot for it. That just shows, open your eyes, people. Like they're out there, and they're out there more than anybody could imagine. Most people when they're driving, they just keep their eyes on the road. They're not looking down creek beds.
No.
They'll reveal themselves when you have your eyes wide open. Yeah, that's magical.
Yeah, and I didn't know that Bigfoot could run that fast. I always thought because he's so big that he was going to be slow, and so that's why I was like, this must be some paranormal or alien type ability.
Yeah.
Should we be afraid of Bigfoot? And I know you're familiar with David Pilates 411.
Yeah.
Do you think Bigfoot is stealing people from our national forests?
Yes. I think we should definitely be careful with these creatures. We should respect them. But they are on Earth. They have souls or they have some kind of energy inside them. They can be good. They can be bad. There are many incidences of them taking people and killing people, like the story of Dennis Martin. Feral man had him over his shoulder. Yep. Cullen Finnerty, he was an NFL player. He was being chased by two giant men. He was an NFL player. There's not many creatures bigger than him. Henry McCabe, there's a voicemail of him being killed on recording, and you hear the samurai chatter in the background. Wow. And of course, when they never found Dennis, but when they found Cullen, he had pneumonia, and they said he threw up, and that's how he died. He ingested it. He was so scared, he died, essentially.
Have you heard of the competition that's going on in Oklahoma right now for Bigfoot?
It is silly, man. It's all just to raise money about permits. There's not going to be any, Sasquatch fatalities. They're going to be on high alert, and a bunch of dummies and a bunch of criminals are going to come and try to get that $2 million bounty too.
That's $3 million.
$3 million now.
$3 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get laughed at every day at my retro. I work at a comic book store, so you would think people would be into fantasy and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I wrote a Bigfoot book, and they're like, you really believe in Bigfoot? I'm like, well, I've taken pictures of them. My teammates have found bones of them. The people that got taken, or family members that have question marks, or all the people in Port Chatham in Alaska, they had to abandon their whole city because of these Sasquatches. So I fight the fire with fire. These people want to say, show the evidence. Come on, wake up, grow up. There's thousands of new stories every other week.
Tell us about Zillafoot.
Yes. Zillafoot. I have the poster behind me.
Oh, that ass.
I love Godzilla.
This one is awesome, guys. It's Zillafoot. Half Godzilla, half Bigfoot. And this alien monster thing summons Zillafoot to wreak havoc on the world. And there's about 12 other kaiju monsters. There's sharks and tarantulas and giant serpents. It's truly amazing. And I basically play myself. I play a cryptid research officer, and I go into the military bunker, and I warn them about the impending doom. I'm like, guys, Zillafoot is coming. He's coming down from the firmament. He crossed the ice wall from the aquifer. And things are coming alive. And they know I'm right, but they still escort me out there, and they pay a steep price. And it's amazing. And I just watched it for the first time last week, and I love my scenes. I think my character brings a lot to it. I hope that they bring my character into like all these monster movies, because it's made by SRS Cinema, and they make like monster movies every week. So I could film my scenes here, and I'll just warn everybody about every monster, and they could just put me into everything.
You're
but
playing
there is
yourself.
basically.
When does the movie come out? Where can people see it?
It's available online. There's a Facebook page that you can pre-order it, and if we sell 200 copies of the Blu-ray, then it's going to get a widespread release, and you might find it in Target or the $2 bin in Walmart.
Yeah.
I have a copy, so I think if you pre-order it, you can have it. But I'm waiting for it to be picked up by like Tubi or maybe Amazon Prime, Netflix. What's up?
Yeah.
Okay, Connor, one more thing. You're a singer. You must have a song about Bigfoot.
Yeah, I have like a song about a witch in the woods, kind of.
Oh,
Would you mind?
I want to hear it. Yeah.
I'm not warmed up, but hopefully
Okay.
we'll go.
I know how it is when you're not warmed up.
This one's called His Story Repeats, but it's about her. There's a nighttime in her eyes and she comes alive. There's moonlight in her blood and she does it real good. The monster in the swamp can smell her coming. It's hell of the op. You better get to running. There's nighttime in her eyes and she comes alive. Fireflies in the sky when she dances around the fire. The stars shine bright, but they stare down in desire. The one they chose to tell her no never came back, never told a soul. This nighttime in her eyes and she comes alive.
Connor, we'll be following you.
Yeah, we will follow you. Love your work.
Thank you
Love your
so
stories.
much.
Love your passion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Keep up the great work as well, and I'm definitely going to check out that Bigfoot episode, because that is awesome. And once you know, you know.
Visit us. Yeah. Yeah. Come visit us in Oregon and check out the Bigfoot Museum.
Yeah.
I will. I'm actually supposed to visit my buddy in Portland, so if you guys are anywhere within the range of Portland, Definitely. I will hit you guys up. The Portland Trailblazers, it's always Dave down here, you know?
Sounds
Awesome.
good.
Thanks,
Good
Connor.
night, Connor.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Thank y'all. Have a good one.
He said that he climbed the ladder. I am a terrible writer. Hang on. Ever since Holly introduced me to TikTok,
Yeah.
I don't even change clothes anymore.
no.
The
You'll-
laundry doesn't get done.
you'll lose
My poor
days of your
husband
life.
doesn't eat
Yeah.
anymore.
You just lose days of your
just-
life watching TikTok videos.
It's very addicting.
And you know what? It's worth every second.
Oh, hell yeah.
TikTok.
One crazy bat.
What about our tarot reading, Carol?
Oh, you always forget.
God damn it. You can use it to help cats who are in shelters. Go with that line, Josh.
Yeah.
They're ship
Well,
they're ship shafters. Ship
100%.
shapers.
Shapeshifters.
Oh,
Or
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's late. Shapeshifters.
Shapeshifter.
Josh, cut that.
Yeah, Josh, get rid of that.
I mean, I meant.
As the flames die down, do remain undaunted.
Though all hitchhikers are ghosts,
And all dolls are definitely haunted.
hey guys, be sure to follow us on Instagram. Our handle is @FiresidePhantoms. If you have a spooky story you would like to share with us, send it to firesidephantoms@gmail.com and you may hear it on a future episode.